Good evening, welcome back to another episode with Cooking with Stir Crazy. Tonight I'm going to take you on a nice quick little trip through a quick little recipe. We're going to be doing chicken ballotines with chicken breast wrapped in bacon, and then we're going to quickly fry them off. As you can see, or as you will see, the recipe is really quick. You can get this done once you have all your ingredients ready, be done in less than 20 minutes in terms of get everything ready. You could take a bit longer if you were putting other stuff within your chicken breast itself. But I'm going to take you through a relatively easy, quick way to do it. It's got a lot of flavor, got a lot of smell, it's got a lot of everything that comes with it. So as per usual, I'm going to go through the ingredients and the equipment that's needed, and we're going to get straight into it. So come on through and I'll show you what ingredients we have. So firstly, we need chicken breast obviously. You could do chicken legs or anything, but then you don't have to debone it. The chicken breasts are much easier to work with. Then you're going to need some bacon. As you can see, I have a lot of bacon here because I'm making quite a few, but you generally just need about 3 or 4 per chicken breast, roughly about 200 to 300 grams of bacon. I've got some peppadews. This is about 70 grams of peppadews. You don't have to use them if you don't like peppadews. You can always substitute them with anything else, whether it be peppadews, whether it be peppers, whether it be onions, anything like that. The next what we got is we got some feta. Feta is obviously a great little addition to any type of dish. It's got a nice creamy texture to it, a little bit of saltiness to it, and is really, really, really tasty as well. The next little bit is obviously some... We'll mute that in a second. We got some soy sauce. This is a good marinator and seasoner. So that's always a good addition. You don't have to put soy sauce in if you don't want to, and if you are got any lactose issues, then you can always use a lactose-free soy sauce. Then we've got some chopped up parsley, just some parsley, just randomly chopped up, nothing special. Then we've got some garlic, which we'll be cutting and chopping in a second, and then we've got some fresh basil that we'll be using as well. A few extras is obviously some olive oil you'll need. We need some salt. I have a herbal salt here, very tasty salt. And I've also got normal salt and pepper. So when you're actually making these and put these together, you'll have a choice of either wrapping them up with string once you've done your bacon and your chicken into it, tying it with string to make sure that the whole thing stays together, or you can use toothpicks. I prefer the toothpicks option because it's quicker and you can get it done and take it out relatively quickly as opposed to the string. So I'll be showing you the way of the toothpick because it is the way to go. It's a sharp point. In terms of equipment that you'll be needing, you'll be needing chopping boards, you'll be needing a marinating bowl or plastic container, you'll be needing some cling wrap or some foil, whichever one you would prefer, a nice sharp knife, and obviously a sharpener, or if your sharp is not knife, otherwise you can just use the knife as well.
The knife is not sharp.
Alright, so as you can see, not that much ingredients involved, not that much equipment involved, but we're going to get started and you'll see just how to put this together in a very short amount of time. First thing you do is you get your oven on 180, so you preheat your oven, and we get that onto fan assisted oven onto 180. Alright, so now that you all are blinded by my head, now we can get straight into the chopping of everything. Make sure that your knife is sharp, simply by going side to side, like that. This way you make sure that your knife is super sharp and ready to go, and ready for anything.
Okay, please don't try that at home, guys.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to be doing, so I'm going to be going as per the recipe, so if you guys are following us, you guys can obviously follow along and whatnot. You can always pause the video or see the video later and see if I've missed anything or if you've missed anything, and you can continue from there. Alright, so first little bit what we're going to do is we're going to be making our marinade. Now marinade is a little bit of the ingredients that we're going to make separately, that once the chickens are ready, they're going to go into the marinade and into the fridge for about 15 minutes just to marinate and just get a little bit of extra flavor. You don't have to follow that step if you don't want to. If you want to just go straight forward and cook it onto the pan or the stove, you definitely can. But don't be shy, either way you want to go. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the peppadews. Now all these peppadews need to be chopped. So we're going to go through. As you can see, I've got a few here. We literally just got to bunch them all together like that and just roughly chop them. Okay, and then sideways. So like I say, roughly chop. It doesn't have to be super fine in any type of way. You can see this is just pieces now. And we put that back onto our little bowl there. All right. I've got Peppadew everywhere. Go. All right. The second little bit is I must mix in here. Now this is just a plastic container. The reason I'm using a plastic container is because this needs to go into the fridge. Normally I would say use a glass bowl, but because of the shape of the bowl, all the chickens need to fit into it. If you try to put the marinade and there's chickens in here, only half of them are going to be able to fit in here. So use a relatively large-ish but high-walled container, which this plastic will be perfect for. In here we're going to take half our peppadews, just like that. Put that in there. Then we're going to take our olive oil, which is 1.5 tablespoons of oil, so that's 1.5. There you go. Then we're going to take a little bit of soy sauce, also about a tablespoon, which is about that. And then we're going to take our crushed garlic, which we still need to crush, so I'll take the one crushed garlic. So look here. Crush your garlic nice and easy. Now because it's a marinade, again, this doesn't have to be super fine, but if you would want to use the marinade later in the mixture, I recommend crushing it a bit more. As you can see, front of the knife just squashing it down till it's nicely crushed. And a rough little chop like that should break it all down into a usable point. If you want to go finer, you definitely can. You just chop it up a little bit more, just like that. Then you take all of your mixture and not the skin. There we go. Get that in. Just like that.
Joanne says hi.
Hi Joanne, how are you doing? Alright, the next thing is we need to make our herbs. So we take our herbs, so this is your parsley, throw it all in there. And then we take as much basil as you would like. If you're a basil fan, obviously use as much as you want. I'm going to use about that much. So leave a little bit because I want to use some on top of the chicken later. Now, if you don't like basil, you can always substitute it with some other lightly flavored herb. If you are a coriander fan, this would also work. Otherwise, fresh parsley or thyme or rosemary, any type of herb would really work. Basil's got quite a nice flavor and aroma, and I think works very well.
It's my favorite.
And it's your favorite, and it works very well in this dish as well.
Kevin also says, hi guys. Hello,
Hi.
Kevin.
Hi Kevin, I hope you're enjoying the show. Alright, so now...
Julie, at Kez, your laugh. I would know it anyway.
Hi Julie, welcome to the show. Alright. Okay, so now once you've got this, as you can see, this is a relatively dry marinade. If you wanted to add anything else to it, such as more oil, more soy sauce, you are more than welcome to. In this case, I'm probably adding about 2 more tablespoons of soy sauce, and I'm going to add another about 2 more tablespoons of olive oil. Alright, so now we're just going to mix this all together. And just the smell alone coming from this, from the olive oil, the soy sauce, the peppadews, the garlic, oh, it's amazing.
Very fresh smell.
It's a very, very fresh smell. Alright, so now your marinade and half your mixture is ready to go. So now we can put that aside and we can get on going on to the next little bit. So the first thing, you do not want to be cutting chicken on a green board. This is a veg board. So we'll be using our yellow board. If you do not have a yellow board, make sure that you clean your board nice and properly. Make sure that once you're done with your chicken, it is properly cleaned, properly scrubbed down. All right.
Kevin says, loving these demos.
Fantastic. I'm glad you are. I'm loving them too.
Me too, because I get to eat the products. And it's glorious.
Alright, now comes to the fun part. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting chicken breast in half. You could make a pocket if you want to, but I'm going to show you how to cut it almost completely in half. We are going to flatten it a little bit with some cling wrap, and then we're going to gently put our filling and everything in, and then we're going to put it into our marinade and let it marinate. So first thing, again, make sure your knife is sharp. Now if you look at the chicken breast, let's go a little closer. If you look at the chicken breast, you'll note that obviously this is the part that was cut out when it was cleaned. Now you want to go from that point, having this as your back piece here. Do not attempt to cut it that way and have that as your back piece. As you can see, it's not very even, and the chicken breast will not hold together properly later. So what we do is, in the middle, very gently go through the whole thing. Now you can see how important it is to have a sharp knife. And you pull the whole thing over and very gently go down the center, making sure you don't go through that back piece there. As you can see the back spine there, you don't want to go through that. Okay, so very gently, there we go, as much as you can. Alright, so that's the start of it. So now the next little bit is, if you've got a little frustration, which I'm sure you all have being locked down for so long.
And probably alcohol stores are running low.
You're going to put your cling wrap over the whole thing. You're going to cut the whole thing. And now you get to take justice out on the chicken. And you smash that chicken until it's flat. I feel better already. Here we go. Alright, so now what you've done, now you flatten that all up. So you get everything, especially the thick parts in the middle and the breast on the side, as even as possible. If you're going to be doing multiple of these, I'd recommend doing them in a row, get them all ready, and then you can just go ahead and do them. But I'm going to show you how to do one, and then we can go from there. The next little thing what we're going to be doing is we're putting it sideways. Now note, I've taken the biggest side for my bottom piece and the smaller side for my top piece. That is quite important, because if you try to do it the other way around, most likely you're not going to have a proper filling in there, and you won't be able to cover the whole thing properly. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our mixture, a little bit of our mixture that we made, just a little bit, just some of that. Throw that down in the middle, spread that across quite nicely, get all that there. If you wanted to put anything else in here, such as jalapeno, such as chilies, such as any other type of herb, hell, if you can even put more cheese in here if you would really like to. But
mushrooms?
Before, you could put mushrooms in there.
But you need to cook them first?
Recommended, yes, otherwise it gets very oozy. Then what you're going to do is, once your mixture's on, got to put some of that, the rest of the jalapenos down.
And peppadews.
Peppadews, sorry. I like jalapenos, they're good. They work well in this as well.
We've got some in the fridge, you can make one later.
Yes. Alright, once you've got that down, now you're going to take your feta, and you can, again...
all the feta!
You can put not only feta in here, but you can put other cheeses in here if you really want to. If you're a cheese addict like I am, you can definitely put any type of cheese in here. Again, feta is very nice for this type of dish because it adds a creaminess to the dish without over-oiling it. Oiling it. Got to get that pronunciation right.
A little bit of English for you today.
There you go. Alright, then you're gently going to push the whole thing down, like that, just to make sure nothing moves in there. Then what you're going to do is take a little bit of that herbal seasoning that I've got, or just normal seasoning.
Oh, Delinky, it smells even better. It is smelling amazing. Deline says that looks so yum.
Yeah, it is. So, now this is your filling. So as you can see, the filling is as flat as I can get it. Do not try and pile it on, because if it's piled on, you won't be able to get that folded over. So you want it as flat as possible. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the top piece and fold it over. Note that it's not covering the whole thing. That's not a problem, because what we'll do is we'll gently just tuck everything in like that, and just make gently, you don't have to be very rough with it, just like this. So then what you would do now is you would take your marinade that you've made, you would lift your chicken up, make sure it's coming off there, and very gently place it in your marinade. Now obviously if you're doing more than these, you would obviously stack them. Note why I say do not use a bowl. Imagine this being in there, it wouldn't really work.
No, it'll fall apart.
You obviously want a tray or something that you could get a lot in there. So this would go into the fridge for as little as 10 minutes. You could leave this set overnight if you really want to. If you really want the chicken and everything to really infuse nicely, you could. So if you're making this now, you could leave it overnight, and tomorrow you would just do the next step from here. So obviously I'm not going to put this into the fridge because I would like to show you what else to do. So what we're going to do is, now it's tomorrow. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be
or in 10 minutes time.
Or in 10 minutes time, either way. Is you're going to gently be taking your chicken out, and you're going to be laying it on the side there. Anything on top, you just coat the whole thing down.
And you smoosh it.
And just smoosh it down. Now you want to be relatively gentle with squashing it, because again, if you push too much pressure on, they are going to squish everything out, all the filling, and you definitely do not want to do that. The next bit comes with the bacon. Now, Again, with my comment just now on the boards, normally this is a chicken board. You wouldn't normally put bacon on a chicken board, but the fact that we are cooking the chicken and the bacon together, in this instance, it will be okay. As long as afterwards I'm done, I clean this board down properly. So take my bacon and I layer it. So this is streaky bacon, as you can see. Then what I do is, as you can see, it's got a big bulb of bacon that side. My next piece, I'm just going to turn over and make sure that bulb is on the side there. So that makes a even slightly overlapped and slightly pushed down. If you wanted to do this recipe without the bacon, by all means you can. You can just take this as is and fry it if you want, but you must be very careful. The bacon does hold it together. You could also use some string to tie it together, and that should work quite well. But in this case, we shall do bacon. So looking at the size of the breast, I'm probably going to do 5 pieces just to be on the safe side. 5 pieces, yeah. So there we go. So now we push that all. So as you can see, everything is slightly overlapped. I've pushed everything down just to flatten it as much as possible. As you can see, it's quite a lot of bacon, but I guarantee you one of these breasts is all you need for a dinner. So now you want to take that bit, slap it lengthways or sideways down onto the chicken itself. If you're a fan of pepper, obviously you can crack a little bit of pepper onto there. I don't recommend adding any more salt to this because the bacon and the feta and everything in there and the soy sauce would make it quite a salty dish. So just be easy on the salt. First make it the first time, and then if you decide you want more salt, you can either add more or the next time you can. Right, so what we're going to be doing is slightly squashing this up to make it a little bit more breast-like. Now we're going to start with our last piece of bacon that we started with over here.
That is not bread-like.
We're going to start with our end piece that we that we ended with.
I agree with you, Kevin. Kevin says more bacon. I agree.
You could put more bacon, but this is plenty.
Kevin, between you and I, look, he's still got to make more, and there's lots more bacon.
There's a kilo of bacon in that. Alright, so as you can see, the last piece of bacon, you start on the one side, and you don't fold directly over, you fold towards the middle, as you can see. And then you take the end piece, and you try and attempt to close the end like that. So it's a little peephole sticking out over there. It's a peephole, look, hole that peeps. Alright, and then you continue going that way, folding into the middle, and then folding into the middle.
So you plait your bread.
You plait the bread basically. And once you get into the middle, then you're going straight across, like that. And then from this point on, you start going into the middle again. There we go. And you want to do your best to cover that as much chicken as possible. If there's a little bit of chicken sticking out, not a problem in any way whatsoever. Just like that. As you can see, a nice little parcel. Now what we're going to be doing, so this is where you can choose to either do toothpicks or you can use string to tie it around. If you're doing string, you would put layers of string in, probably about, I would say about 4 at least, directly underneath, pull it over and you would tie it down. So this would be the bottom. But if you're doing the toothpicks, you would obviously take a toothpick through the middle where everything should be, and you go at a slight angle, you try to get all of it in there like that. There you go. Then you take the other one and you just do a little cross like that. The reason you do it at an angle is because when you fry this, you don't want this to be sticking up like that, because you won't be able to fry it with that on there. So then you take this and you just stick it in there. You can put as many toothpicks as you want in there, but however many you put in, you need to remember how many you put in. Yeah, so that you remove them later. Right. So then last one I'm just going to push over here. Now this should stay together quite well. And if I turn it around, you'll notice how nice it is. There we go. You can see a little bit of loose here. You can pull it over. If a piece like that is bugging you for an OCD reason or anything else, you can just take another toothpick, stick it in the side there to make sure it doesn't move. There we go. So now this is basically your wrapped chicken. So the next little step would be to cook the chicken. Because cooking or eating a raw chicken is not
will
in
kill
your
you.
best your interest. Alright, quite simple to cook it. However, there's a little bit of a trick to cooking it. When you do cook it, do not go as hot as your pan can go. The trick to cooking something like this is low and slow. Alright. So the first thing we're going to do...
The Hills girls will hear low and slow and think, large breed puppy.
Alright, so we get our pan going. Initially you get it to about a medium temperature. A little bit of oil wall. Just a little bit, as you can see, because we don't want to be deep frying this, and especially with the amount of bacon and everything on there.
Not enough bacon. Between Kevin and I, there's not enough bacon.
Apparently there's not enough bacon, but I guarantee you there is bacon. There's enough bacon on that. Alright, what you're going to be doing is when you're frying this, as much as everything will tempt you to fry the top of the bacon, the top of the Ballotine, you fry the bottom first. Therefore, any joints that the bacon are together should technically stick together, and therefore give you a much better spread across the whole thing. So this is a nice little temperature. As you can see, it hasn't been very long. I don't want this to be smoking hot. So now I'll take my parcel and I place it in the center like that. As you can see, it's not a crazy loud roar because you do not want it to get too hot when you do this. The temperature in terms of the stove, if you are using an induction stove, I recommend medium setting. If it goes up to 9, a 4 or 5. On my oven here, I've got it right about a halfway mark, just above halfway mark to fry this. And then just gently give this a mix around, push it to the side, make sure the whole thing is frying nicely.
Virginia says, amazing, wish I could taste it. And Santa says, Dina, look, Mom, Harry Potter, with your t-shirt.
That's right.
Downstairs, Dina, we are a Potterhead family. In fact, I'm in my Gryffindor sweater.
That's right. Alright. So the next thing we're going to be doing, is obviously you want to lightly fry this. You don't want this to go too crazy in terms of color because you will be putting this into the oven, which will make it much darker later. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be picking it up very gently. Turn it over. Look at that color that's come out from that. That's what you're looking for. You can see how the toothpicks didn't invade the space, and therefore all the bacon should be nicely sticking together quite nicely. There we go.
Oh, it smells amazing.
Yes, it does. Alright. So what we'll be doing is obviously continue frying on the top end there, making sure that we get all the oil and everything cooking the bacon, giving it a beautiful color. And then we'll turn it onto the sides as well to get color on the sides. We want to get color to the whole thing. Alright. There we go. I'll take a quick peek and see how nice that's coming out now. Really, really cool. Julie, you are welcome, but I'm pretty sure that the police would stop you along the way. Oh, wow, that was loud.
Sorry.
Alright, there you go. Okay, so now that it's just about ready, now I'm going to take it onto the sides. Just like that. And you can see how the top looks. And that's the color you're looking for.
Oh, it looks delicious.
Yeah, it's smelling amazing, guys. Like, nothing quite beats freshly fried bacon.
Now you see, Jules, if we had drones in our lives, we could package up one and just fly it across the suburbs.
Listen, the drones are a touchy subject.
That is true.
Alright, so let's get the pan going because it's getting a little bit smoky in here. Alright. So you could fry this as dark as you would like, but like I said, you don't want to go too darker than this because it will go much darker once you put it into the oven. Alright. So I'm just going to move a few things away here. When it comes to sides, so obviously any dish comes with a side. When it comes to a side to cook with, you can serve this with either chips, potatoes, like mash or anything like that, baked potato even. You can serve this with rice. You could technically serve it with pasta or a really fresh salad, which really goes well with this. But a classic Ballotine side that goes really well with this is garlic, spinach, and mushroom. That just on its own with this is matchmaking and absolutely great. Alright,
Right, Kevin says, how many should you do in one pan?
Depending on the size of your pan and depending on how quick you are to turn them, you could probably fill this pan up. So I could probably get I could probably get about 4 in this pan. If your pan is bigger, you could probably get more. It all depends on the equipment that you have and how fast you are at turning them. Because when you need to turn them, you need to turn them. If you take the time in turning them, the one that you put in last is going to be burning by the time you get to it if you take too long. Alright, so now that it's ready, so now what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to be swapping these 2 trays out. Excuse my dirty cloth that I've been using. There we go. And I'll swap these out, and through the magic of magicness, here is one ready. There we go. But before I get to that one, you can see this one I'm going to be taking. So as you can see, just as a comparative, you can see the shrinkage that does happen. So this one that is cooked is a lot smaller, but that's what happened. But this is still relatively large. Now we take our chicken piece onto the tray, and that is warm. And now you take this as is into the oven. And now you cook it for about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, all depending on your oven. If your oven is a really good oven, probably will be on the 50-minute side. But put your timer on for 15 minutes and then check it from that point onwards. After about 15 to 20 minutes, this is what you should have. So the next thing to do is to slice into it and start eating. Alright, so this is your piece. So I'm going to go straight. Normally what you do is you cut like almost like medallions out. I'm going to cut straight in the middle so you can see the filling and everything inside. And you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, that looks amazing.
There's your chicken just like that, and what you would normally do is you would cut nice little pieces like this, and you would have these little medallions laid out like that. Just like that. You can't find your fingers? There you go. So that is what it should look like at the end of it. As you can see, you've got your beautiful filling in there. Like I say, you could put spinach or anything in there. You've got your bacon wrapped around. You've got your peppadews. It looks fantastic. Tastes fantastic.
This is heaven. It is delicious.
And that's it. So guys, thank you very much. Just a reminder, you guys have a look at our website. There are loads of recipes like this on the website. You also have a look at our private classes that we are doing. We are hosting private functions and classes, virtual functions, so you can get the family together no matter where they are in the world. You can have them in the States, you can have them in the UK, you can have them in Italy, you can have them anywhere. And you can join virtually and do a cooking class with them, and myself or Brett will walk you through each and every recipe that you choose or we choose for you, and we can go through and enjoy everything together. So thank you once again. I hope to see you again next time, and enjoy those cooking days that I will not be there for. Ciao.